Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. How's everybody doing? Hopefully everyone is well. Had a good weekend, having a good day. Spence and Tszyu, winner takes all. This fight is a big deal because it really is one of those fights where the winner takes all. But I'm going to tell you right now, neither man is going to back down. You got Tim Tszyu out here talking that talk, ready to walk that walk. But Errol Spence ain't going for it.
For that step up that we've been talking about, do you think that you're ready for Errol Spence?
Look, I feel like I'm up for it, man. I feel like I'm up for it. This guy was tough, no excuses. But I think me and Errol Spence is going to be one hell of a fight, It's a banger. You know how I am. I don't go take a backward step. So if he wants to meet me at the front, bring it on.
Well, we are live into the US as well. Do you have a message for Errol Spence and his team?
You know what they say. Catch the big fish. Let's go fishing.
Well, we can't wait for that, but...
So Tim Tszyu is saying catch the big fish. Big fish. Can't wait to go fishing. Well, Errol Spence heard that, and Errol Spence is not a man of many words, kind of like myself. When the drama gets started, when shit get popping, let them talk. Because when the real deal pops off, they get uncomfortable, don't they? All Spence had to say was this. You think shit's sweet, I'm going to do you so bad. And that one line has sent shockwaves throughout the boxing world. And I'll be honest with you, it should. Because Errol Spence is back. But just like it sent shockwaves and has the Errol Spence fans celebrating, exciting, Cupid shuffling and shit in their kitchen, knocking over the can of goddamn baked beans, there's a lot of people who saying, hold your horses, let's not take it to the stupid. There's a lot at stake for Tim Tszyu, but also for Errol Spence. This is no easy fight. You got to understand what's at stake here. This is a career-defining moment for Spence. He's been out for a minute, folks, and he's coming back doing the same thing he's always done, not taking tune-ups. But it's not just about winning. Spence has to prove he's still elite. He's still physically and mentally sharp, and he has to do this after coming off of setbacks and inactivity. We all know what happened when he fought Terrence Crawford. There was definitely nothing sweet about that performance. Terrence Crawford put the bing-bings on Errol Spence. And a lot of fans even now feel like there's no need for Spence to come back. The way he looked against Crawford, they're actually very concerned about him. But anyway, questions are everywhere. You know what I'm saying? The who, what, when, where, why, and how is Spence going to do it? The doubt is louder than it's ever been. But I'll say this, if Errol Spence wins, especially if he comes and he can blast Tim Tszyu out of there, like within the first 4 rounds, he reclaims his position among the elite. He proves resilience and longevity. And people are going to compare his return to Keith Thurman coming back. But I'm going to tell you this. Keith Thurman went up against a goddamn different kind of species when he got in there with Fundora. Spence isn't fighting Fundora. So I don't think that's going to be a fair comparison. Errol Spence came back, look what he did. Keith Thurman came back and look what happened. That's not the same. But what I will tell you is, if he wins, people are going to be championing Errol Spence's name all around the internet. But if he loses, and this is why fans are the worst, the conversation is going to shift to he's done, too much inactivity, the damage is caught up. So this is not just a fight, it's a reputation reset, or it's going to be a collapse moment. And that's what we're dealing with here with Errol Spence. Now, when it comes for Tim Tszyu, Ozzy, oi, oi, oi. Tim Tszyu ain't got time for the bullshit. Tim Tszyu is out here fighting for global recognition, validation at the highest level to prove that fight with Murtazali was a fluke, and that shit with Fundora was just Fundora's a different type of species. He's active, has a new trainer, improving, building momentum. The man out here fighting with that Ozzy, oi, oi, oi pressure style, but also incorporating that Cuban-style boxing under his new trainer, Pedro Diaz. So he's out here getting better and building momentum. And if he beats Errol Spence, he knows it's going to launch him into superstar status. He's going to be up, and away. You know what I'm saying? Think about handyman and shit. But it makes him a true elite name globally. And a loss is going to slow his momentum. It's going to raise questions about his ceiling as well. Because they're going to be like, he fought Errol Spence. Errol Spence hasn't been in the ring in 3 years. Errol Spence comes back and he clips Tszyu. Yeah, we were right. Tszyu wasn't special. The only thing good about him was his last name. But at the end of the day, the fight hasn't happened yet. Way too early to start talking that kind of crazy shit. But for Tim Tszyu, this is a legacy acceleration fight. He beats Errol Spence. All is forgotten about Murtazaliev. All is forgotten about Fundora. But for those who are still adamant that Tim Tszyu loses, hey, Tim Tszyu has evolved, man. You got to understand the Tim Tszyu evolution. This winner takes all is everything for Tim Tszyu. He's made key adjustments in recent fights. He's not just pressure anymore. He's being more calculated, being more patient, more defensively aware. And working with Pedro Diaz, you got to expect him to get better. You know what I'm saying? Pedro Diaz is science. He's a scientist when it comes to this boxing shit. You know what I mean? Helping Tim learn. Well, he's already learned them. He just really solidifying them. The Cuban fundamentals, the footwork discipline, ring IQ upgrades. I'm even watching the combinations he's throwing. I'm like, I ain't never seen Tim throw them kind of combinations, you know what I mean? Hooking off the jab and shit. And coming back with the right. I ain't seen him ever on the ropes go back and throw the uppercut, hook, right hand, roll out. I ain't never seen him throw them combinations. You know what I'm saying? That 4-3-2 ain't no joke, man. To see him doing all that, I'm like, oh, that's Pedro Diaz, 100%. So the bottom line is Tim Tszyu is evolving into pressure plus a precision hybrid type of fighter. That's a problem because Tim Tszyu can fight, he's got power, and he ain't going to quit. Tim Tszyu is really one of those, he's a child of a boxing legend, but he really, no kidding, he's got the shit. He's got it, man. You know what I mean? That dude is really a fighter. He's got it. You know who else has it? Just hasn't been able to kind of break through, have a breakthrough moment, but he's got it. But he has another opportunity, boy, is Shane Mosley Jr. He about to fight Bohachuk. You could tell Shane Mosley Jr., he's got it. He's a fighter. He hasn't had his breakthrough moment, but you can just look and see, like, that dude, he's got it. He just needs to beat Bohachuk, which is not going to be easy at all. Anyway, that Cuban-style edition for Tim Tszyu, for those of you who say, well, hood champion, somebody's Cuban style, what does that mean? Well, what it means is going to be a lot of movement, going to be angles, defensive awareness, control of distance. And Tszyu adding this to his game makes him less predictable, makes him harder to hit clean, and combine that with his natural traits, like what we just talked about, physical pressure, body work, durability. You have a fighter who can think and pressure and put the bing-bings on you. So this is all good for Tim Tszyu. Could be all bad for Errol Spence, but then again, he's working with Ronnie Shields. So on Spence's side, they got the experience and IQ, you know what I'm saying? But even without Ronnie Shields, Spence is a proven elite technician, one of the best body punchers in boxing, and Tim Tszyu's body will be there to be hit. And Spence brings high-level experience, championship composure, tactical discipline. But the concerns are ring rust, timing, reaction speed. But Ronnie Shields will get him up to speed. He'll get him up to speed. But the bottom line, when you look at Spence, you see the experience. But when you look at Tszyu, you see the freshness. And that creates a major storyline. But I think it's going to end up being a trainer chess match. That's just my opinion. Tszyu, Pedro Diaz guiding him, Cuban influence rising. Spence is with Ronnie Shields. Key point about Ronnie, he has deep experience with Cuban fighters, trained elite talents like Erislandy Lara. So this means Spence's team understands Cuban rhythm, Cuban timing, Cuban movement patterns. And that's very important to point out. But at the end of the day, it's activity versus inactivity. You know what I'm saying? Tszyu's active, he's sharp, in rhythm, looking good. Spence, no activity, potential ring rust. But with Ronnie Shields in the right training camp, I'm sure he's working that off. He already cut his hair off. That just lets you know, once the locks go, you know Spence is locked in. But the activity matters. You know, everyone will tell you, you can only be so good in the sport of boxing coming off of year layoffs. You know, almost every pro boxer will tell you, you got to be active. It matters for your timing, for your reflexes, for your fight sharpness. And in boxing, activity equals confidence, plus timing, inactivity equals uncertainty. But there's nothing uncertain about Tim Tszyu and Errol Spence when it comes to their heart and when it comes to their jaws. The fight's not just technical. It's physical, it's mental. Both fighters are going to be tested. The chin, we're going to see whose chin is the most durable, okay? And the heart. Both of them got the kind of heart to push through damage, push through adversity. They're going to push until the heart can't pump anymore. Both of them dudes got heart. Both of them have hearts of gold, as you see in the thumbnail. But I just want to know if Tim Tszyu is still going to want to show the toughness, if he's still going to want to walk through fire. And for Spence, he still want to prove resilience and potentially get beat on like he did against Crawford. Can he break opponents down over time like he did against Yugas and other fighters, like he did with, what's his name, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, like he did with he blasted, what's his name, up out the ring, man. He beat the shit out of Algeria, but there was an African dude, forgetting his name, knocked him out cold. Can Spence still come in there? He did it to Lamont Peterson. Can he just come in there and just break people down? So I expect brutal exchanges, body shots, late round pressure. And one man's going to be standing, the other one's not. I don't think it goes a distance. And I'm going to tell you this. One thing Tim Tszyu has going for him, the fight is rumored to be taking place in Australia, not in Dallas like some people are out here speculating. No, not Dallas. And you got to understand, Errol Spence is a big name, but he ain't the A side no more. You know what I mean? He's been gone. He can't come back and demand nothing. I just did a video on A side versus B side. Clarissa Shields, Baumgart, and the A side privilege. This is what you're seeing here with Tim Tszyu. He got the A side privilege, and Australia's putting up the money. This is a big deal. Tim Tszyu is the biggest name in Australia. It ain't Jai Apataya or them other fighters. It's Tim Tszyu, and we all know why, because of his dad. You know what I mean? But Tim Tszyu is going to have home crowd advantage. He'll be in a familiar environment, no travel stress, no acclimating, none of that. And Spence has the long travel to get over there, time zone adjustment, climate adaptation. Watch out for them kangaroos and goddamn crocodiles and all that. Boomerang hitting him in the head. But if he on point, he'll be able to duck and slip that boomerang, won't he? But the acclimation concerns, I've traveled all over the world, and I'm telling you, you go to these other countries, man, the acclimation period, that shit can suck. We used to arrive in other countries, man, sometimes, man, 4 a.m, you getting off that goddamn plane. You go to your room, and you get to your room, you arrive at 4, but you get to your room about 5:30, 6. Lay down, you got to be up and somewhere at 8 to 8:30, sometimes 7, sometimes you don't even sleep. Go to the room, eat something, shower, put on your uniform, gone to a briefing. And that's why a lot of us used to try to sleep on them planes, because we knew we got to hit the ground running. That shit used to suck. I don't miss that. I like how things worked out for me, because my life is fucking outstanding. But boy, when I was going through the bullshit, I used to hate that shit. You know what it is to be sleep deprived in a meeting? Like a 3-hour meeting, and you're one of the key personnel, boy, I'll tell you, coffee can only do so much for your ass. I'm seeing guys drinking coffees and Monsters and Red Bulls. Heart doing this shit. So with Errol Spence, I got acclimation concerns for him. Will he arrive enough? Will he adjust? Because there's some risk with poor acclimation. Just like me, man, moving slow and dragging ass and being foggy and shit up, it's horrible. But for Spence, he may have slower reactions. He could have fatigue. He could have dehydration issues. At the elite level, even 5 to 10% off, that's a huge disadvantage. You know what I mean? But gotta wait and see how it plays out, because the style clash is pretty cool. Tszyu, pressure, the IQ's getting better. Forward momentum, Spence, precision, you got the body attack, methodical breakdown. That's what he was anyway. But I just think the clash is aggression versus control, youth versus experience, activity versus inactivity. I think that's how I would sum it up with these guys. So if you said, all right, we hear you, what about some keys to victory? Keys to victory for Errol Spence, control that distance. Got to go to the body, and he's going to be under some pressure. Stay composed. For Tim Tszyu, be smart. Don't come in there and think that you Terrence Crawford. Don't take it to the stupid. Hold your goddamn horses. Smart pressure. Use them angles, them fancy combinations. Test Spence early. Step to him. See if he wants to be there. Step to him. See if Errol Spence wants to be there. But the mental warfare, let me tell you something. With Tim Tszyu, mental warfare, his confidence is rising. He believes in his moment. Spence's mindset, fighting to prove something, fighting against doubt. Hunger versus legacy pressure going on here, people. So at the end of the day, the fight answer is this. The fight will answer these things right here. Is Spence still elite? We're going to find out. Is Tszyu ready to take over? We're going to find out. If it goes the distance in a split decision, I think that's good for both guys. That's going to say Tszyu was able to get in there and win or lose in a very competitive match against an elite fighter, a special fighter. If Errol Spence, wins or loses, they're going to say, damn, after all that inactivity, he came back and he's still looking good, and forced the judges to score like a 115, 114, like difference of one round. That means that he could have won. So either way it goes, that's how you would want ideally to take a loss. But if one of them gets blown up out of there, that's going to be all bad. All bad, you know what I'm saying? So no more questions after this, only answers. And I think we're going to get them when they fight. That being said, y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.